wasn't ready for that. And I start backing up, trying to get out of his way, and the mirror of the big gigantic mirror of this truck caught me in the arm, spun me to the ground. The back end of that truck went up over me. I listened to my ribs breaking, pop, 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 14 of them. I listened to her screaming in the vehicle, "Oh my God, you just ran over him, stop this effing truck, let me out, I can't believe you ran over him." He kept going. I spit out from underneath that truck, a mess. I got blood coming all everywhere. You name it, there's blood. I suffered 14 broken ribs, 7 stitches underneath my chin, 4 staples in my finger, an amputated toe reattached, 2 other broken toes, severe hematoma on my entire left leg, a collapsed lung, and road rash everywhere at a minimum. There's probably more. All because I'm going to go save this girl.
Go ahead, because you were going to save her, yeah. But you told me that in the hospital when I went to see you, and let me tell you, he didn't look good, okay? He should have been dead.
Yeah.
He should have been dead. This is, I told Angela Dawn about you when I first was telling her the story, and I was like, this man has 9 lives, okay? You served 7 deployments that were very intense as far as deployments, a couple of them. I mean, you know, and any time during that you could have died. And then you had beat all this addiction with meth, which could have killed you. And then you went and you helped a fellow addict and faced another death situation. Like, that's your 9th life, Bruce. Like,
I mean, the one I told earlier, partially 3 years before that, when I was shot at, that was to bring a girl out of prostitution, and that was her pimp coming after me, shooting at me. And that didn't stop me. Didn't slow me down a bit. Madness, absolute madness.
So do you think you have a death wish?
I don't think I do. I just, they say it's because I don't care whether I live or die. I don't want to die. I'm not afraid of dying. I don't think I'm going to die. In Panama, there was a situation where I was in a turret, giving a guy a break out of the turret, and I was riding in the middle of the morning, the vehicle just chilling, as the operation was mostly over, and we're doing martial operations. This guy comes out between 2 vehicles, and he empties out a machine gun, AK-47 at my truck, at me, from a very short distance in between 2 vehicles, and those bullets pinged all over the place, ping, 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 and nothing happened to me, nothing. Like you'd see in a movie sometimes where people laugh about stuff that happens. How did he not hit me? He hit everything but me. And I was thinking he took off, and we ended up getting him, whatever. But that was the first time that I said, man, somebody has a higher purpose for me. I don't want to turn this into a religious meeting. I'm not trying to beat anybody down with the Bible. You call it what you want. For me, there is a higher power. I am a Christian, but God has a purpose for me, and it wasn't to die in Panama in 1989. It wasn't to die being run over by that truck. It wasn't to die being shot at on the battlefield. It wasn't to die being shot at trying to get a girl out of prostitution. He has a purpose for me, and I believe this is it. I believe my purpose is right here, right now, talking to these people, and as many people as I can, to show them that you can have mental illness, undiagnosed. You can have a severe addiction. You can be homeless like I was. You can be more than once. You can be arrested. You can be jailed. You can be prisoned. You can walk out with nobody and nothing. Everybody closest to you, my mother, my father, my fiance dying in the last 3 months I was in prison. The last time before I got out, 2 days before I got out, my fiance died, and I attended her funeral. Went back into addiction, got arrested again. You could do all this, and you can get back to where I'm at right now, which is doing exceptionally well. And I've been sober for 3 years, and I believe my purpose in life is to go out there and try and reach as many people, because I have earned the credibility with a very large group of people. I don't try to focus on the military thing as much as possible, because I don't want to get rid of the non-military people and say this is just a military thing. Not even close.
No.
PTSD and C-PTSD is not about the military. It has nothing to do with it. When I was in that program,
and me focusing on that for this comp has nothing to do with just military. Okay, so the comp before this one was about addiction and sobriety through singing, because that's what I do. But I recognize that first responders and veterans are the first ones. They're a group that deals with more suicide than the average. We both know, and we talked about that. We talked about that 20 to 22 veterans per day are killing themselves, with a good majority of it being overdose. Okay, because they're trying to self-medicate. And probably some of it is that anxiety, not being able to not be bored, to needing that excitement and it never occurring again. All of those things, right? They add to it.
There's so many things you just said, Nikki, but one of them I want to hit on is the substance abuse disorder. The amount of personnel with substance abuse disorder in first responders and veterans is the highest amongst firefighters. That 7 out of 10 firefighters develop a form
Why
of
is that?
disorder. What do I think? Remember, I'm about to finish my degree in psychology, and I do a lot of studying on this, and I've studied it for years. And I'm running a group on Tuesday nights with a lot of firefighters and stuff, and I think we've come to the type of person that chooses to become a firefighter is different than the type of person that chooses to become a soldier or an EMT or a nurse, number one. There's a lot of bravado amongst the firefighters, even more so than, I compare them like the Marines of the civilian world. I'm not to pick on Marines, but the Marines are a little bit more bravado oriented than the Air Force, so to speak. And they joke back and forth. The firemen are very bravado. And there's a lot of, I don't call it a hero complex, but there's a lot of trying to save others. There's a lot of trauma in firemen before they get there. Then their job every single day of going out to overdoses now, which they respond to continuously.
That's what I've understood, yeah.
You name it, they are constantly responding to traumatic events and seeing firsthand the events of it, and they don't handle it well. Their profession has a stigma that if they reach out and say they're struggling with dealing with this, they're going to be moved to the side and maybe lose their career, but definitely not be promoted or whatever the case may be. So they turn to another substance to compensate. Well, alcohol being their biggest one, but there are others. And that's the case. We got in my group, one after another, we're getting firefighters in there that had an alcohol-related incident. They're trying to get through the 9-day program and keep their jobs and dealing with their issues. And they struggle to open up at first. They really do, because they just don't want to tell you what it's all about.
Because they don't want to lose their job too. I mean, that's it, isn't it? Like, if they admit that they have these issues, then they lose their job. And they don't want that. Like firefighters, in my experience from family members being involved, they have a brotherhood, much like the police do, much like military do. They have a brotherhood, and it becomes like family. So to lose that position means they've lost some of their status within their family. And so I think this is why so many servicemen and women don't look for help when it comes to mental health. Am I not right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think by the end of the Iraq War in 2004, they had enough people coming back, killing their spouses and other stuff that was going on in an unbelievable number.
Hey, Shelley.
Especially at Fort Bragg, that they decided, hey, we got to do something about this. We got to start checking these people. There's something wrong. And we took a test before we left Iraq, a written test. We sat down a written test. Questions like, are you thinking about harming anybody? Are you having nightmares? Do you have all these ridiculous questions? Because I'm a senior leader at the time. I'm the acting sergeant major in Iraq at the time. If I sit there and answer yes to those questions, I'm not going to be the acting sergeant major in Iraq anymore, and I'll never see another promotion in my career. And I know that. No matter what my answers to those questions would be, I'm smart enough to see the answers that will get me in trouble. And if I express them, they're going to get me help. They're going to do all kinds of things to take care of me. But my career is going to end right then and there. I will never be put in charge of a couple thousand people again. It's not going to happen. And I don't know if it should happen. Do I need to be in charge of those people if I'm thinking like that? I don't know. In combat, sure. Even in the civilian world, even the people that are not first responders and veterans, if you go to a job application and they start interviewing about your mental illness issues, HIPAA protects you to a point, but there are psychological exams for law enforcement, for police officers, for military. You're checked to make sure you're somewhat sane before they make you insane. Civilian world, most jobs are not going to probe into that, but if they knew in advance that you had mental health issues, I bet you don't get hired. You're not going to go in there and advertise it. You're not going to walk into Walmart for your first interview and go, by the way, I'm seeing Dr. So-and-so and I take the following mental health medications. You know? Luckily, there's things that protect you from that. But
you know what surprised me, Bruce, was I came into the treatment program and I was going to be honest with my doctor because I needed a note about my disabilities with my knees for treatment court. And he fired me as a patient. The day that I told him.
I remember you told me that. I remember you told me that.
That I had gotten arrested and what for. He fired me as a patient. And I attacked them, you know, with all my legalese verb, you know, usage with, I made a complaint against him with HR. I said, I do not relate as to how a Hippocratic oath can be a thing if you're going to fire somebody because they were arrested. And they literally gave me back the answer. He can make his choices as to who he treats. So I think that, and I came out of that office traumatized. I was crying. I was so upset because I felt ashamed of what had just occurred. I can't even imagine facing losing my whole career.
It's real. It's real. I don't know what kind of time we're looking at, but one of the things I wanted to make sure that I talked about was how I got healthy.